All right, today, welcome back to Success for Life podcast. Coach Schumann here. We're going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to me. Okay, we're going to talk about developing speed, and developing speed is something that is maybe the most critical thing that anybody could have in almost every single sport, and even in sports where it's not a major thing, like maybe baseball, there's still elements to it, stealing bases, running in the outfield, where speed is important. So almost every single sport you play, explosion is a key component to it, but pure speed is a really important part. And I'm talking specifically speed today for football, and the things that we need to think about as far as what we could do. So I pulled this up from the American Football Coaches thing, and I'm not sure that I agree with this or not. A lot of it, but it does give you kind of an understanding. So when doing sprints, remember saying these 7 tips: stay on the balls of your feet, true. Swing your arms from my hip across your body, true. Always bend elbows 90 degrees, grip, true. Chest up, lower your abs, keep your abs tight. I think that's a learned skill because you don't want to restrict your breathing. Drive your knees 75 to 90 degrees. Yeah, fully extend your back leg on every push-up. I don't agree with that as far as but the most important thing is to pull through and drive. So that could be very confusing for an athlete, okay? And like we're talking about, like I said, we're going to talk about how to develop speed, okay, in football players. Just my background in high school, I was a high hurdler, state champion high hurdler. Played football at UConn, was the fastest linebacker on the team. As far as coaching, I owned Schumann Speed Centers through 2011. That was where I made my teeth initially, was in the speed training development business, wrote a book that still sells to this day, that sold over 20,000 copies worldwide. 30 Days to Developing Speed. You can get a copy of that for $19, I think it is, on myfootballcamps.com or nucsports.com. That's not why I'm here today. Today I want to talk to you about how to develop speed in football players. So like, subscribe, share, all those goodies for you, for YouTube, where you are, so you can keep getting this content to help improve yourself in our Success for Life podcast. We've talked about being able to develop peak performance. We talked about developing confidence. We've talked about different things, okay? And today we're talking how to develop speed in football players. Enjoy this President's Day, and we're going to talk about how you develop speed in football players and the key elements of this, okay? This is an often misunderstood thing. There's lots of people coaching and training out there that don't have the foggiest clue about how to develop speed. If you haven't developed sprinters, a lot of them don't really know how to develop speed, okay? Developing a fast football player is the same as developing a fast sprinter. It's a shorter sprint in a lot of cases, but from sprinter speed standpoint is a key element. Now, offensive line, you're looking for, and defensive line, you're looking for shorter explosive bursts. But when we're talking about sprinter speed, there are certain fundamental things that apply all the way across, okay? And we're going to break down a couple of things just so you kind of see. All right. So speed is the ability to move all a part of your body as quickly as possible. I think that's one main element. The other main elements is the ability to accelerate, okay? How fast you get up to acceleration, and then how long you can hold that acceleration. And in football, can you repeat it? Okay, so that's a key element. Can you repeat it? Okay, how to gain speed. So I think we do so much lifting in football. We do a ton of squats and deadlifts and hang cleans, and those things are all really good for developing overall strength and speed. What I'm talking about is how to specifically gain speed, things that will help push you over the top, okay? These are the things that, and I left off one thing on here, but I want to talk about it first. So functional strength. full range of motion movements, so full squats, help to develop speed because they develop that knee strength you need. You're going to do lower weights. Doing it right will really help develop the strength in the knees in order to be able to help the tendons grow the right way, develop the right way. Because sometimes when we do squats, cleans, and deadlifts, we develop all the muscles around the knee and the ankle and the hip, and we don't go and develop those tendon areas. Okay, so that's an important thing. That's why you see so many groin pulls. That's why you see so many hamstring pulls. That's why you see so many increases in knee injuries, because we don't know how to step. And I'm going to talk to you about a new style of training that I've seen that I think it's Jamar Chase uses, and I think a lot of people need to check these guys out. I'll talk about that. Functional strength. So your hips, you got to develop hip strength. That is specifically the hip flexor and then the groin area. Okay, so you've got to be able to do that because you're changing direction and then you're exploding. So you've got to develop hip strength. That is the ability to lift your knee, okay, up. All right, and when you're sprinting, you have to be able to do it. And if you remember how Eric Dickerson ran, how Adrian Peterson ran, how even when you watch Derrick Henry run, the high knees, that extra development comes from that hip strength. Okay, how you could develop hip strength, simply put, either leg lifts develop hip strengths, sit-ups will develop hip strength, lifting your knees up, so sitting on the edge of a chair and just lifting your knee up in the air will develop hip strength, and holding. Hamstring strength. Okay, we've all seen the fall away hamstring curls that people do where they have someone hold their ankles. It's a great way to develop hamstring strength. Hamstring strength is critical. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit about a couple other exercises I really like. Gluteus maximus strength, squatting, full squats. Okay, are going to develop that gluteus maximus strength. That's the biggest muscle. That's your butt if you don't know that. And that's going to give you your explosion. Okay, explosive fiber development. So sprinting is fast twitch. So things that you could do explosively quickly, like box jumps, okay, starting with low box jumps or super quick reps in jumping. You don't have to go super high, but developing that strength develops that explosive fiber. Obviously, I think the best lifting movement for that is the cleans. All right. Upper body development, so shoulder development, back of shoulder development, which you could do with bands, okay? And then obviously with lifting, upper body chest development, and then your tricep, bicep, the forearm development, shoulder, and your upper back development, and then obviously lower back development from things like deadlifts, reverse deadlifts, stiff-legged deadlifts. Okay, those are key elements. Obviously, flexibility is an important component of it, but today I'm focusing on the elements of what you got to do to be able to gain speed. Okay, all right, joint development. All right, some of this stuff is really new, and you must watch videos on these areas. You could type it right into YouTube, and really, I recommend even spending time with these guys to learn these things. But knees over toes, which basically the best way for me to explain it simply is, if you're doing a lunge, you're going all the way down to the lunge, full range of motion on a squat, okay, and then exploding up. Okay, so that will develop your explosions and your strength. Check out the knees over toes guy. Okay, he's on YouTube. He's got all kinds of drills from that standpoint. Joint development is a key for injury prevention. GOATA. When I first started watching the videos, I wasn't too sure because they do a lot of different podcasts and they have a great time. But when I watched the techniques, which GOATA really is greatest of all time athletes, I think it is, or something along the development athletes. So like they basically what they did is they watched Michael Jordan, they watched the best athletes and how they moved, And there's a specific thing to develop your joints with respect to the working on elements on doing exercises with working on the balls of your feet. So if you use my hand as the ball of your foot as an example, developing that outer part and the bowing of your knees so your knee uses the right direction with the natural movement of your body. It is a really, really important thing to look for. It can be difficult for people to understand, but Jamar Chase uses it, and there's a lot of athletes that are starting to. They're based out in Louisiana. Check out GOATA. They really do some great stuff for you to be able to, first of all, develop the small muscles within your lower legs, your ball of your feet, which is where you're exploding from, and then your knees to be able to help prevent injuries there, develop that strength. Functional flexibility. So again, along the same lines, when you're doing your dynamic warm-up, that's a form of that. Also, like stepping out and doing lunges, full range of motion lunges, is really good flexibility. Rocking back and forth, being on your knees and going back and forth. Rolling on your back, knees one side or the other. All those kind of things are good functional flexibilities to really develop the joints to get them ready for working out. Full body movements, like I talked about, full squat, full lunge, okay? A little bit lower weight and a little bit more focus on the depth, okay? Now, you're not going to use heavy weights for those things because when you're doing your squats for your team, that's where people, I think, go crazy and start to get in. You want to use a weight that you can handle and to be able to be able and develop the strength within your joints. Okay, that's a key element. All right. So techniques. What are some techniques you could do to improve? And I'm going to show you a couple videos. One of a football player, one of the greatest sprinter of all time. Techniques to improve. So arm swing, okay, drills with arm swings, all right, getting the full range of motion in the arm swing, hip to cheek all the way through, and really kind of, and it should be a forceful coming up. So it's come back forceful, relaxed shoulders, relaxed traps, and forceful coming up. You'll see when I show you with Usain Bolt. Okay, ball of foot drive. So like I talked about, the power comes not from the inner part. That's why you see guys that are slightly pigeon-toed have an advantage, because when they claw the ground, their outer part of their foot hits, which is the power part, and are able to claw through and drive. Okay, knee drive. So ball of foot drills, which is you could do driving, you could do fall away sprints. You can do jumps. You can do short, quick feet drills, just focusing on the right angle. And then knee drive. Okay, so wall drives are great for knee driving. Wall drive and hold. Okay, bring your hips in, so you're forced to work harder. Bring your hips out, so you're forced to work more of the ball of your foot. All right, starts. So, right, 40-yard dash starts. Develop that acceleration, that arm drive. Accelerators. Accelerators means jogging into your sprint. Accelerate for some velocity. Some length, and some velocity speed. So 90%, 80%. So that transition of speed and the hold of speed. Okay, those are all elements to improve. And let's look at a couple of. Let's just look technique-wise. Let's see, we go here. Share screen. All right. Let's go on over here. Let's see if it gives it to me. Oh, it doesn't give it to me because I'm in the same... Let's break this out here. All right, hopefully we could see this. We're going to take a look at Usain Bolt why. But we're going to look at his drive and his start coming out the gate here. Actually, let's do this. Let's make this a new tab. There we go. Okay. Now let's do it. Now let's go. Let's stop the screen share. Let's try it again here. All right. There we go. Now we got it. All right. Perfect. Okay. So when we look at Usain Bolt and his running technique, okay, here's the key elements of it. So, and this is, first we should look at the starts here, but the actual drive, the arms, the explosion of the arms really gives you the element, the swing back and the arm coming forward and the knee driving forward, okay, is this whole area here with the hips all the way down. And look at how high the knee comes by driving out, all right? That's a key element of the start. All right, now let's look at Usain Bolt sprinting. Okay. Notice how his feet hit on the outer part of the ball of the foot. Okay. The knee drive. The knee drive. I mean, he's off the ground here. See the force of the knee drive. The pull through, claw pull through. Okay. And the arm swing. This is critical. Watch this arm swinging back over here. Back. Full back swing. Full arm extension all the way up. Forceful arm extension. Okay. Essentially, he's rocking from outer part of the ball of foot to the other outer part of the ball of foot along the way sprinting. Foot plants. Knee is in a great position because it's bowed. Again, bowed plant again. When you go to you'll see this stuff because these guys really break it down. Full arm swing, full pull through, okay, almost full extension on the knee drive, and obviously at 6'4". And you can see this similarities among most of these sprinters. Okay, these are elite sprinters, obviously. Okay, he's the elitist of the elite. All right, I hope that made sense. Okay, so I want you to see this now on the field from a football standpoint. New window. Let's get Usain Bolt out of there. Okay. Hopefully I did that. Okay. All right, now let's go over here and watch this. Let's just see. I want to make sure. All right. There we go. Good. Okay, so this is Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl. Let me just take the volume off here. All right, Cooper Kupp catches the ball from a dead start. Watch his explosion, his first step. Look at the drive of the knee. Okay, it's hard to see, but you see his foot, the outer ball of the foot plant drives off so that mid part of the ball of your feet to the outer part, that mid to outer it's really, it starts with the mid to outer where the drive comes. There it is, knee drive. Knee drive, arm extension. He's got a football in his hand. Look at the arm extension. Look at the arm extension. He's got to have a full swing. Knee drive, okay? To change direction. All right? Watch as his knee is in a good position going out, bowed, and then knee drive, bowed, great foot plant. Okay, so you see that with Cooper Kupp, all right, as well. All right, so there you see it in those techniques. So you can either do drills. Here are some drills: falling sprint, so standing from from a full start, fall as you feel like you're gonna fall, you drive. I call it drive. All right, then wall drives and holds, like I talked about. Butt in, force to drive, butt out. Two different kind of angles. One forces a little bit more on the ball of your foot. The other one forces more extension on the hips. Okay. Accelerate, jog. So you accelerate 20 yards, jog 20 yards. Accelerate 20 yards, jog 20 yards. You could do it for 30. You could do it for 40. Okay. As you get stronger. Slight assistance. So, you could have a bungee cord that slightly assists you. All right. I always want to start with slight assistance before you really get to advanced levels, because we don't want to get anything overstriding. That's a bad thing to work on. So a little bit of overspeed, slight assistance. Okay. Almost, actually, if you had a bullet, the old bullet resistance thing, where instead of using on the resistance, you can pull in the front and then pull, get them going, let them go. Reverse sled pulls. Okay, so holding the sled, walking backwards, even backpedaling. Okay, a little bit lighter weight, backpedaling will help. And then sled drives. Okay, sled drives are important, man. And even better than the 2-person sled drive, if you can get the wooden. I learned this from Ron Panacea. I couldn't believe what it did for our program. The wooden sled, which keeps you more erect, okay, keeps you straight up more to drive there, so it forces more of a hip drive and a pull through, okay, really will take you to a different level. Okay. Maximum speed and sport peaks. So we talked about peak performance. When you get to the final 2 weeks of your season, you want to taper 2 weeks out, lower load, maximum reps to make sure those reps are really good. Lower load, okay? Not as many of them. Then you want to go lower load with about a week out. You want to go low load, controlled rep. So maybe you're just 3-step explosion or maintaining speed, okay? Not a ton of reps, but they're really good, sharp, controlled. Then the last week even, and it's hard to do, but you want to get to almost a no load and warm up. So in order to be able to, so if you have football practice, you're focused more on the actual execution of what you guys are doing, but you don't need to do any extra speed work. You want to basically warm up and then cool down at the end to be able to start to get that flexion so you can peak at the right time. All right, so that summarizes and it is the full thing on how to prepare, get ready, and to develop really that football speed that you want on the field. Okay, the explosion speed that you need in order to become an elite athlete. See more at myfootballcamps.com. Go to myfootballcamps.com, nucsports.com. Visit me at Coach Schumann on all social media. And if you go like, subscribe, share this, help as many people as you can with this stuff. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Coach Schumann signing off.